The soft hum of machinery filled the bridge of the U.S. Intrepid as Captain Samuel Wright stood before the main viewing screen. His dark blue uniform caught the gentle glow of distant stars as he studied the strange readings that flickered across the display. The ship had been tracking an unusual signal for the past 3 days, something unlike anything they'd encountered before. "Captain, the signal's getting stronger," Lieutenant Commander Lisa Bennett said from her station. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel as she refined the scanning parameters. "Whatever it is, it's old. Really old." Samuel walked over to her station, his footsteps echoing in the quiet bridge. The crew worked efficiently around him, each person focused on their tasks. The Intrepid was the newest ship in the fleet, built for deep space exploration, and they were now far beyond where any human ship had ventured before. "How old are we talking about?" he asked, leaning over to look at her screen. Lisa's eyes widened as she double-checked her readings. "Sir, if these readings are correct, the signal predates human civilization. We're looking at something that's been broadcasting for at least 50,000 years." A murmur of surprise rippled through the bridge crew. Samuel felt his heart beat faster, but he kept his expression calm. This was why they were out here. To find something new, something extraordinary. "Chief Martinez, what's your take on this?" Samuel called out to his chief engineer, who was working at the engineering station. Anna Martinez looked up from her console, her dark hair tied back in a practical ponytail. "The energy signature doesn't match anything in our database, Captain. It's like the signal is somehow moving through both normal space and subspace at the same time. That should be impossible." The captain nodded, taking in the information. He'd learned long ago that impossible usually meant they just hadn't figured it out yet. "Lieutenant Collins, status of our defensive systems." Peter Collins, the tactical officer, straightened at his station. "All systems are green, sir. Shields are at full strength, and weapons are ready if we need them. But," he paused, checking his readings again, "the signal doesn't seem hostile. If anything, it almost feels like it's calling to us." Samuel walked back to the center of the bridge, thinking carefully about their next move. They were already far beyond their planned exploration route, in a region of space that didn't even have a proper name yet. The closest star system was days away at maximum speed. "Ruby, any luck decoding the signal?" he asked his communications officer. Ruby Hayes shook her head, her fingers dancing over her console. "Not exactly, sir, but there's definitely a pattern to it. It's not random noise. The computer says there's a 99.9% chance it's artificial in origin. And," she hesitated, "there's something else. The pattern, it's changing, like it's responding to our presence." That got everyone's attention. Samuel turned to his science officer. "Daniel, what do your scans show?" Daniel Grant was already deep in his analysis, his blue eyes reflecting the light of his screen. "Captain, the signal seems to be coming from a point just beyond the Kuiper Belt. But here's the strange part. That region of space should be empty. However, our long-range scanners are picking up some kind of structure out there. It's massive, at least the size of a small moon." Samuel took a deep breath. This was the moment every explorer dreamed of, finding something truly new. "Lisa, plot a course to the source of the signal. Anna, keep an eye on those energy readings. If anything looks dangerous, I want to know immediately. Peter, maintain defensive readiness, but keep weapons powered down. We don't want to appear hostile." As the crew acknowledged his orders, Samuel walked to the front of the bridge, staring out at the vast expanse of space before them. The stars stretched out endlessly, and somewhere out there, something ancient was waiting for them. The Intrepid moved gracefully through space, its advanced engines humming with power. Hours passed as they drew closer to their target. The bridge crew remained alert, each person aware that they might be on the verge of making history. "Captain," Daniel called out suddenly, his voice tense, "we're picking up something new. The structure, it's generating some kind of energy field. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. The readings suggest it's bending space-time around itself. Before Samuel could respond, Ruby's console lit up with activity. "Sir, the signal. It's changed. It's forming words. English words." "Put it on speakers," Samuel ordered, his heart pounding. A soft, melodious sound filled the bridge, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Then, clear as day, words emerged from the sound. "Children of Earth, you have grown quickly. We have watched your progress. Now, at last, you are ready to meet those who came before." The bridge fell silent. Samuel looked at his crew, seeing his own mix of excitement and apprehension reflected in their faces. Humanity had just made first contact with an alien intelligence, and from the sound of it, they'd been watching humanity for a very long time. "Ruby, can you respond on the same frequency?" Samuel asked. "Yes, sir. Channel open." Samuel straightened his uniform and cleared his throat. When he spoke, his voice was clear and steady. "This is Captain Samuel Wright of the U.S. Intrepid. We represent the United Earth Federation. We come in peace and friendship." The response came immediately, the musical quality of the voice somehow both soothing and otherworldly. "Peace and friendship. Yes, these are concepts we have observed in your kind. Come closer, Samuel Wright. There is much to discuss, much to share, much to learn." As the Intrepid moved closer to the massive structure, the crew could finally see it on their viewing screen. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. A vast construct of what looked like living crystal and energy, patterns of light flowing through it like blood through veins. It pulsed with power that their sensors could barely comprehend. "Sir," Anna called out, her voice filled with awe. "The energy readings, they're off the scale. Whatever built this thing has technology far beyond anything we've ever seen. It's like they found a way to harness the fundamental forces of the universe itself." Samuel nodded, taking in the magnificent sight before them. This was more than just first contact. This was humanity's first step into a much larger universe, one filled with wonders and mysteries they had only dreamed of. Whatever waited for them aboard that structure would change human history forever. "All hands," he announced over the ship's comm system. "This is the captain speaking. We are about to make history. Remember your training, stay alert, and most importantly, be ready for anything. We don't know what we're about to find, but that's why we're out here. To explore, to learn, and to grow." As the Intrepid approached the massive structure, the ancient signal grew stronger, guiding them home to a destiny that had been waiting for humanity for 50,000 years. In the heart of the crystal structure, beams of pure energy moved like dancing lights. They had no bodies as humans would understand them, but they had consciousness, memory, and wisdom gathered over millions of years. The eldest among them, the one humans would soon call the architect, observed the approaching ship with great interest. For 50,000 years, the Eternals had watched humanity grow from simple tool users to space travelers. They had seen countless civilizations rise and fall across the galaxy, but humans were different. Where other species took millions of years to reach the stars, humans had done it in mere thousands. They approached with both curiosity and caution. The architect communicated to the others, its thoughts flowing like light through the crystal corridors. Just as we predicted. Another Eternal, younger but still ancient by human standards, moved closer. "Are you certain they are ready, Elder? They still fight among themselves. Their technology is primitive compared to ours." The architect pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Ah, but watch how quickly they learn, how fast they adapt. In the time it takes other species to perfect one technology, humans create 10 new ones. They are beautiful in their chaos." Aboard the U.S. Intrepid, Captain Samuel Wright and his crew were preparing for their first direct contact. The massive crystal structure now filled their entire view screen, its surface alive with flowing patterns of light. "Chief Martinez, what are your latest readings?" Samuel asked, trying to make sense of the incredible sight before them. Anna studied her instruments with growing amazement. Captain, the structure. It's not just generating energy. It's somehow containing what looks like pure consciousness. It's as if thought itself has been turned into energy. Daniel Grant spoke up from his science station, his voice filled with wonder. Sir, I'm detecting movement inside the structure. But it's not physical movement. It's more like patterns of energy moving with purpose. They're alive. The Eternals watched this exchange with growing excitement. For millennia, they had existed in their energy form, so advanced that most species couldn't even perceive them properly. But humans, with their quick minds and adaptable technology, had already begun to understand what they were seeing. Captain, Ruby Hayes called out suddenly, "We're receiving another transmission." But this time, it's different. It's like they're trying to show us something. The main view screen flickered, and suddenly the bridge crew found themselves looking at Earth, but not their Earth. They saw their planet as it was 50,000 years ago. They watched as early humans made their first tools, built their first fires, created their first art. "We have watched," the musical voice said, now seeming to come from everywhere at once. "We have seen your first steps, your struggles, your triumphs. Where others crawled, you ran. Where others took the safe path, you dared to leap." The images changed rapidly now, showing humanity's progress through the ages. The invention of the wheel, the discovery of electricity, the first powered flight, the moon landing, all compressed into a dazzling display of human achievement. Lisa Bennett leaned forward at her station, captivated by the images. "They've been studying us all along. Everything we've done, everything we've become." "Yes," the voice agreed. "You are unique among the young races. Your minds, they burn so brightly. You feel so deeply. You dream so boldly. Even now, your thoughts reach out to us, trying to understand what we are." The architect moved closer to the barrier between their two realms, its energy form creating beautiful patterns in the crystal walls. "I am the one you might call the architect," it communicated. "I was ancient when your species first looked up at the stars with wonder. We are the Eternals, and we have chosen this moment to reveal ourselves to you." Samuel stood from his captain's chair, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Why now? Why choose this moment to contact us?" The answer came with a pulse of light that seemed to fill the bridge with warmth. "Because you are about to face a challenge that will determine not just your fate, but the fate of all life in this galaxy. We have seen it coming, as we have seen so many things. But you might be the key to surviving it." Peter Collins tensed at his tactical station. "A threat? What kind of threat?" The images on the screen changed again, showing something that made the entire crew catch their breath. Massive ships, like cities made of living metal, moving through space like a plague of locusts, consuming everything in their path. "They are coming," the architect said, its voice now carrying a note of urgency. "The harvesters. They are neither organic nor energy beings like ourselves. They are living machines that evolved by consuming the technology of other civilizations. They have destroyed thousands of worlds, absorbed countless species into their collective." Anna Martinez studied the readings from the harvesters' ships with growing concern. "Their technology, it's incredible and terrible. They're like nothing we've ever encountered." "Yes," the architect agreed. "And that is precisely why you might be our only hope. You see, the harvesters can absorb and adapt to any technology they encounter. We Eternals are beings of pure energy. We cannot fight them directly. But you humans, you are different." "Different how?" Samuel asked, though part of him already suspected the answer. The architect's response filled the bridge with dancing lights. "You are between worlds. Not as physical as some species, not as energy-based as others. You can understand both the material and the spiritual. You can adapt, improvise, create solutions that neither we nor the harvesters would think of. Your very unpredictability is your strength." The crew exchanged glances, the weight of this revelation settling over them. They had come seeking knowledge and discovery, but instead they had found themselves at the center of a conflict that would determine the fate of the galaxy. "How long do we have?" Samuel asked, already thinking about what they would need to do to prepare. "They will be here in what you would call 3 of your Earth months," the architect replied. "We can teach you much in that time, share knowledge that took us millions of years to gather. But how you use that knowledge, that must be your choice, your way." Samuel looked at his crew, seeing the mix of fear and determination on their faces. They had trained for first contact, prepared for exploration, but this was something else entirely. This was humanity's first step onto a much larger stage, and their actions would echo through history. "We'll help," he said firmly, "but we'll need to contact Earth, prepare our people." "Of course," the architect agreed. "But first, there is much you need to understand about who we are, and what you might become. For you see, dear humans, you are not just our allies in the coming battle. You might very well be our successors." As the Eternals began to share their knowledge, the crew of the Intrepid realized they were witnessing the beginning of a new chapter in human history. The meeting of mortal steel and eternal energy was about to change everything they thought they knew about their place in the universe. Chief Engineer Ana Martinez hadn't slept in 24 hours, but she couldn't stop working. The Eternals had shared knowledge that changed everything she thought she knew about physics. Her engineering lab aboard the U.S. Intrepid was covered in holographic displays showing complex equations and energy patterns. "You're close," the architect's voice echoed softly through the lab. Its energy form created gentle waves of blue light in the air. "Your understanding of how energy and matter interact is unique." Anna pushed her hair back from her face, studying the patterns before her. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before. You're not just moving through space. You're moving through the fabric of reality itself." The architect pulsed with approval. "Yes. And now you begin to see how this knowledge can help your ships move faster, reach further." On the other side of the ship, Lieutenant Peter Collins worked with another group of Eternals. They helped him understand how their ancient structures' defenses worked. The tactical officer had already filled 3 data pads with notes and ideas. "So your shield isn't really a shield at all," Peter said, watching the simulation in front of him. "It's more like you bend reality around yourself. The attacks can't hit you because you're not exactly where you appear to be." "Correct," one of the younger Eternals replied. "But your human weapons have given us new ideas too. We never thought to combine physical and energy-based defenses before." The Intrepid had become a hub of activity. Captain Samuel Wright had sent their initial reports back to Earth, and the response was immediate. More ships were on their way, but they would take weeks to arrive. They had to prepare with what they had. In the ship's main conference room, Samuel met with his senior staff. The room's walls displayed the latest data from their work with the Eternals. "Anna, what's your progress on the new drive system?" he asked. Anna's eyes lit up with excitement. "Captain, it's amazing. The Eternals don't just go to warp, they slip between the layers of space-time itself. I think we can modify our engines to do something similar. Not as perfectly as they do, but enough to give us a huge advantage." "How huge?" Lisa Bennett asked from across the table. "We could reach Earth in 6 hours instead of 6 weeks," Anna replied, causing a stir around the table. "But that's just the beginning. The same principles could revolutionize our shields, our weapons, everything." Peter spoke up next, bringing up a tactical display. "Speaking of weapons, I've been working on something new. The Eternals showed me how they manipulate energy fields. If we combine that with our photon torpedoes, we might have something that could actually hurt the harvesters." Samuel nodded, then turned to Ruby Hayes. "How's the communication system coming along?" Ruby smiled, tired but proud. "We can now talk to the Eternals directly through a modified subspace field. No more need for them to convert their thoughts into words. The computer does it automatically. It's helping us learn from them much faster." Daniel Grant, the science officer, added his own report. The Eternals have shared their observations of the harvesters with me. These machines aren't just advanced, they're constantly evolving. Every piece of technology they absorb makes them stronger. But, he paused for effect, they've never encountered anything quite like what we're creating here. What do you mean? Samuel asked. We're combining physical technology with energy manipulation in ways neither the Eternals nor the Harvesters ever considered, Daniel explained. The Eternals went pure energy, the Harvesters went pure machine, but we're finding a middle path. The meeting was interrupted by a soft chime. The architect's form appeared in the center of the room, its light casting gentle shadows on the walls. Your progress exceeds our expectations, it said. In mere days, you've begun to grasp concepts that took other races centuries to understand. Samuel stood to address the ancient being. We're grateful for your knowledge, but we're still badly outnumbered. The Harvesters have thousands of ships. We'll have maybe 30 by the time they arrive. The architect's form rippled with what they had learned to recognize as amusement. Numbers alone do not determine victory. We have watched your history. How many times have smaller human forces defeated larger ones through innovation and adaptability? Anna suddenly sat up straighter. That's it. We don't need to match them ship for ship. We just need to be able to hit them in ways they've never seen before. She quickly brought up a new diagram on the main display. Look at this. If we combine the Eternals' energy manipulation with our standard torpedoes, we can create weapons that exist in multiple phases of reality at once. The Harvesters won't be able to adapt to them because they'll never know exactly what they're trying to copy. Peter caught on immediately. And if we apply the same principle to our shields, we could make our ships partially energy-based, partially physical. They wouldn't know whether to treat us as machines or energy beings. The excitement in the room was palpable. For the first time since learning about the Harvesters, they felt real hope. There's something else, Ruby added thoughtfully. The Eternals have shown us how they store knowledge in pure energy form. If we could adapt that technology to our computer cores, we could process information thousands of times faster, Daniel finished her thought. Our ships could react to threats almost instantly. Samuel looked around at his crew, feeling the surge of pride. In just a few days, they had taken alien concepts and turned them into practical solutions. This was what humanity did best: adapt, innovate, and find new ways to face impossible odds. How long to implement these changes? He asked Anna. The basic modifications to the Intrepid? Maybe 2 weeks. We'll need to test everything, of course, but the principles are sound. And once we prove it works, we can share the specifications with the other ships coming to help, Samuel finished. The Harvesters think they're hunting primitive prey, but they're about to find out that humanity is full of surprises. The architect's form brightened. Now you understand why we chose this moment to reveal ourselves. Your species has something special. The ability to take different ideas and combine them in new ways. You see possibilities where others see only obstacles. As the meeting continued, Anna's mind was already racing with new ideas. She couldn't wait to get back to her lab. They had 3 months to prepare for the arrival of the Harvesters, and she intended to use every minute of it. Outside the conference room windows, the Eternal's crystal structure glowed with patterns of light. Inside its vast corridors, more of the energy beings were sharing their knowledge with the human crew. The combination of eternal wisdom and human innovation was creating something entirely new, a force that would soon change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The U.S. Intrepid looked different now. After weeks of modifications, the ship's hull gleamed with a strange, shifting light. New energy patterns flowed across its surface like rivers of starlight. 20 other Earth ships had arrived and received similar upgrades, forming a protective ring around the Eternal's crystal structure. Captain Samuel Wright stood on his bridge, watching the tactical display. The Harvesters were coming. Their massive ships had been detected at the edge of the solar system, moving faster than anything they'd seen before. All stations, report, Samuel ordered, his voice calm despite the tension. Engineering ready. Anna Martine's reply from her station. The new hybrid drive is working perfectly. Power levels are stable. Peter Collins spoke next from Tactical. Weapons are charged. Phase shift torpedoes are loaded and ready. Shield modifications are holding steady. Communications are clear. Ruby Hayes added. All ships are linked through the new energy-based network. We can coordinate instantly. The Architect's form appeared on the bridge, its light dimmer than usual. They are closer than we expected. The harvesters must have improved their drive systems since our last observations. Lisa Bennett checked her readings. 5 ships, each one bigger than anything in Earth's fleet. They'll be here in 10 minutes. Samuel nodded. They had trained for this, prepared for this moment. Remember the plan. We don't match them head-on. We use our advantages, speed, unpredictability, and our ability to shift between normal space and energy space. The minutes ticked by slowly. On the main screen, they could see the harvester ships now. They were enormous, like cities made of dark metal. Parts of their hulls shifted and changed constantly as their living metal adapted and evolved. They're scanning us, Daniel Grant reported from his science station. Their energy readings are off the charts. Wait, they're transmitting something. A harsh, mechanical voice filled the bridge. It wasn't speaking English, but somehow everyone could understand it. The universal translators the Eternals had helped develop made the meaning clear. Your technology will be added to our own. Your uniqueness will enhance our perfection. Resistance is inefficient. Samuel stood from his chair. This is Captain Samuel Wright of the United Earth Fleet. We know what you are. We know what you've done to countless civilizations. We're giving you one chance to turn around and leave this system. The response came immediately. You are primitive. You will be consumed. Your technology will enhance us. The energy beings will no longer hide from us. Suddenly, the harvester ships launched their attack. Beams of dark energy shot out toward the Earth fleet and the crystal structure. But the humans were ready. Execute Pattern Alpha, Samuel ordered. The Earth ships moved in perfect coordination. Just as the harvester beams were about to hit, the ships partially shifted into energy form. The attacks passed through them harmlessly. Return fire, Peter called out, launching phase shift torpedoes. The new weapons were beautiful and terrible to watch. They flickered between physical and energy form as they flew, making them impossible to track. When they hit the lead harvester ship, they phased directly through its shields and detonated inside its hull. The harvester ship shuddered, part of its living metal structure torn open. But already it was adapting, trying to analyze the attack and develop countermeasures. They're learning, Anna reported. But they can't copy our weapons exactly because they can't understand how we're combining physical and energy technology. The battle quickly turned fierce. The harvesters launched waves of smaller ships, each one trying different tactics. The Earth fleet kept changing strategies, never using the same attack pattern twice. Inside the crystal structure, the Eternals added their power to the fight. They couldn't attack directly, but they could create energy fields that confused the harvester's sensors and disrupted their coordination. 2 harvester ships are showing heavy damage, Peter reported, but the others are already adapting to our first wave of attacks. We need something new. Samuel turned to Anna. Chief, remember that idea you were working on? The one about using the Eternals' energy patterns to create a feedback loop. Anna's eyes lit up. Yes, sir. It's risky, but it might work. We'd need the Eternals' help to amplify the effect. The Architect's form brightened. We understand. We will help. But be warned, this has never been attempted before. The combining of our energies could have unexpected results. Samuel looked at his crew, saw the determination in their faces. Sometimes the best solutions are the ones nobody's tried before. All ships prepare for Pattern Omega. Anna, work with the Eternals to set up the feedback loop. The next few minutes were intense. The Earth ships maintained their defense, while Anna and the Eternals prepared their surprise. The harvesters pressed their attack, growing more confident as they thought they were learning to counter the human tactics. "Ready, sir," Anna called out. "But we'll only get one shot at this. The energy buildup could burn out our new systems." Samuel nodded. "All ships, on my mark, channel all power to your energy conversion systems. Let the Eternal's power flow through our ships. 3, 2, 1, mark." What happened next was unlike anything any of them had seen before. The Eternals poured their energy into the Earth ships' modified systems. The ships began to glow brightly, their hybrid technology acting as a bridge between physical and energy realms. The harvesters hesitated, their sensors overwhelmed by readings they couldn't process. Before they could adapt, the Earth fleet released the built-up energy in a massive wave. The wave wasn't just energy. It was a combination of physical force and pure thought, created by the merger of human technology and eternal power. When it hit the harvester ships, their living metal couldn't adapt fast enough. The wave disrupted their very ability to evolve and change. "Direct hits," Peter shouted. 3 harvester ships are completely disabled. The 4th is losing cohesion. The 5th, he paused, checking his readings. "The 5th ship is retreating, sir." The bridge crew cheered, but Samuel kept his focus. "Damage report." "Our systems are strained but holding," Anna reported. "The energy feedback didn't burn them out after all. In fact, sir, I think we learned something new about how to handle the power flow. We're actually stronger now than we were before." The architect's form pulsed with what seemed like pride. "Do you understand now? This is why we chose humanity. You don't just use knowledge, you improve upon it. Even in the middle of battle, you find ways to grow and adapt." As the disabled harvester ships drifted powerless in space, Samuel looked at his crew with pride. They had faced an enemy that had destroyed countless civilizations, and they had won not just through superior firepower, but through innovation and the willingness to try what had never been done before. "Send word to Earth," he ordered Ruby. "Tell them the first wave has been defeated. But warn them, the harvesters will be back. And next time, they'll be ready for what we did today. Then we'll just have to come up with something new," Anna said with a confident smile. "After all, that's what humans do best." The architect's form brightened in agreement. "Indeed. And perhaps in finding new ways to combine physical and energy technology, you will discover paths that neither we nor the harvesters ever imagined possible." 2 weeks after their first victory, the crew of the U.S. Intrepid faced a sight that made their earlier battle seem like a mere skirmish. The long-range sensors showed over 50 harvester ships approaching, their hulls modified with new defenses based on what they had learned from the first encounter. "They've adapted, just as we expected," Anna Martinez said, studying the readings from her engineering station. "Their ships now have some kind of energy phase shielding. They're trying to copy what we did." Samuel Wright nodded grimly. The bridge was tense but focused. But they can only copy what they understand. And they still don't understand how we bridge the gap between physical and energy states. The architect appeared, its light form showing signs of concern. "The harvesters have never committed this many ships to a single battle. They fear what you have created here. The combination of your technology and our energy manipulation threatens their very existence." Ruby Hayes looked up from her communication station. "Captain, I'm picking up some strange readings from the harvester fleet. It's like they're trying to communicate with each other in a new way." "Show me," Samuel ordered. The main screen displayed a complex pattern of energy signals moving between the harvester ships. Daniel Grant, the science officer, studied them with growing concern. "They're not just communicating," he said. "They're linking together, sharing their adaptive abilities. Each ship will be able to learn from what happens to the others instantly." Peter Collins spoke up from Tactical. "Our fleet has grown too. We have 40 ships now, all equipped with the hybrid technology. And the Eternals have taught us more about energy manipulation." The architect's form pulsed with urgency. "But we have discovered something troubling. The Harvester's new adaptations, they are beginning to affect us. Their technology can now partially interact with our energy forms. This was bad news. The Eternals' immunity to physical attacks had been one of their greatest advantages. If the Harvesters could now affect them directly, all ships, battle stations, Samuel ordered. Ruby, activate the linked consciousness network. This was their newest innovation. Based on how the Eternals shared thoughts, they had created a system that let ship crews share information and coordinate instantly through energy-based connections. It wasn't true telepathy, but it was close. The Harvester fleet approached in a new formation. Their ships moved with perfect coordination, their living metal hulls rippling with dark energy. They're powering weapons, Peter reported. Energy signatures are like nothing we've seen before. The first attack came not as weapons fire, but as a wave of dark energy that seemed to eat away at both physical matter and energy patterns. Several Earth ships partially phased to avoid it, but the wave affected them anyway. Hull integrity dropping, Anna called out. They found a way to attack us in both states at once. The Architect's form flickered. They are attacking the connection points between physical and energy states. Very clever. But perhaps the ancient being didn't finish its thought. Instead, it merged its energy pattern with the ship's systems, something the Eternals had never tried before. Suddenly, Anna's console lit up with new readings. Captain, the Architect is showing us something. If we modify our shield frequencies to match their energy pattern exactly. Samuel understood immediately. All ships, new defense pattern. Match your shield harmonics to the Eternal's energy signature. Let them guide the modulation. The Earth fleet shifted tactics. As each ship synchronized with an Eternal's energy pattern, they became harder for the Harvesters to target. The dark energy waves passed through them with less effect. But the Harvesters were learning, adapting. Their ships began to split apart, each section becoming a smaller but equally dangerous vessel. Soon, there were hundreds of them. They're trying to overwhelm us with numbers, Lisa Bennett observed from her station. Traditional tactics won't work against so many targets. Ruby suddenly sat up straighter. Captain, I'm getting something strange through the linked network. The Eternals, they're suggesting something new, something they've never tried before. The Architect's form grew brighter. Yes, we have watched how you combine different approaches. Perhaps it is time we did the same. We can merge our energy forms not just with your shields, but with your weapons. Anna's eyes widened as she understood. The phase shift torpedoes. If we load them with pure energy from the Eternals. Do it, Samuel ordered. Peter, prepare to fire on my command. All ships, maintain defensive formation. The next few minutes were intense. The Harvesters pressed their attack while the Earth fleet held them off. Inside each ship, Eternals merged their energy with the weapons systems. The torpedoes began to glow with an inner light that was both beautiful and terrifying. Ready to fire, Peter announced. All ships report weapons modified and locked on targets. Samuel took a deep breath. Fire. The torpedoes launched, but they looked different now. Instead of shifting between physical and energy states, they existed in both at once. They carried within them the ancient power of the Eternals combined with the most advanced human technology. When they hit the Harvester ships, the effect was devastating. The living metal couldn't adapt fast enough to a weapon that attacked it on every level of existence at once. Ships began to break apart, their adaptive abilities overwhelmed. But the Harvesters had one last surprise. The fragments of their destroyed ships began to combine, forming into something new. A single massive vessel that dwarfed everything else in the battle. Energy readings are off the scale, Daniel shouted. They're combining all their adaptive abilities into one form. The huge ship fired a beam of pure darkness, stronger than anything they'd seen before. It cut through the Earth fleet's formation, disabling 3 ships with a single shot. Direct hit to our port side, Anna reported. Shields failing. The Architect's form suddenly expanded, filling the bridge with light. Now we see their true power. but they have shown us their weakness as well. By combining into one form, they have put all their strength in one place. If we can strike at their core. Samuel nodded. Anna, can we modify the main deflector dish to channel the Eternal's energy directly? Yes, but, sir, that much power could tear the ship apart. We don't have a choice, Samuel said firmly. All ships, focus fire on these coordinates. Keep them busy. Ruby, link all remaining ships into a single network. We're going to need everyone's power for this. The Intrepid moved into position as the rest of the fleet engaged the massive harvester ship. Through the linked network, every human crew member could feel the presence of the Eternals, their ancient power ready to combine with human determination. Now, Samuel ordered. The Architect and the other Eternals poured their power through the ship's systems. The deflector dish glowed brighter and brighter, channeling energy that existed outside normal space and time. The ship shuddered, straining to contain power it was never designed to handle. The beam that shot out from the Intrepid was like a piece of starlight given form. It struck the harvester ship's core, carrying within it both the wisdom of the Eternals and humanity's relentless drive to survive. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the massive ship began to break apart, its living metal unable to adapt to something that rewrote the very rules of reality around it. As the harvester ship dissolved into scattered pieces of inert metal, a cheer went up from the Earth fleet. They had faced the greatest threat humanity had ever known, and they had survived through the combination of 3 different forms of existence: human innovation, eternal energy, and even the harvester's own adaptive technology turned against them. The battle was won, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The harvesters would be back, and next time they would be ready for these tactics. But humanity would be ready too, continuing to grow, adapt, and find new ways to combine the best of all worlds. 1 month after the Great Battle, the U.S. Intrepid floated near the Eternal's crystal structure. The ship looked different now. Parts of its hull seemed to shift between solid metal and pure energy, a visible sign of how much things had changed. Captain Samuel Wright stood in the ship's new integration chamber, a room that hadn't existed before they met the Eternals. The walls pulsed with patterns of light, and in the center, something extraordinary was happening. The merger is stable, Anna Martinez reported, checking her readings. She looked different too. Faint lines of energy flickered across her skin, a side effect of working so closely with the Eternal's power. We're ready for the next step. The Architect's form appeared beside them, brighter than ever. What you are attempting, no species has ever tried to bridge all 3 states of existence before. In the center of the room, suspended in a field of energy, floated pieces of the defeated harvester ships. But they weren't dead metal anymore. The humans had found a way to rewrite their basic structure, combining the living metal with both human technology and the Eternal's energy patterns. It's working, Daniel Grant said excitedly. His science station now integrated both physical displays and pure energy readouts. The harvester technology is accepting the new programming. It's learning to exist in all 3 states at once. Ruby Hayes monitored the communications network, which now operated on levels that traditional human technology could never have achieved. The signal is stable. The modified harvester circuits are successfully processing both digital data and energy patterns. Samuel watched as the floating metal began to reshape itself. Instead of the dark, threatening forms the harvesters had used, it was taking on a new shape, one that combined the strength of physical matter, the adaptability of living metal, and the pure power of energy beings. We're not just defending against them anymore. Lisa Bennett observed, we're creating something entirely new. Peter Collins nodded from his station. The harvesters tried to force evolution through conquest. The Eternals achieved it by abandoning physical form entirely. But we found a middle path, a way to combine the best of all 3 approaches. The Architect's form pulsed with what they had learned to recognize as joy. This is why we chose humanity. You don't just adapt, you transform. You take different pieces and create new possibilities that no one else imagined. More Eternals appeared in the chamber, their light mixing with the energy patterns from the modified harvester technology. The ship's systems hummed as they processed power in ways that would have been impossible just months ago. "Sir," Anna called out, "the new integrated core is ready for testing. If this works, we'll have ships that can freely shift between physical, digital, and energy states. We'll be able to explore parts of the universe no one has ever reached before." Samuel stepped forward, looking at the floating creation in the center of the room. "Will it be enough to stop the next harvester attack?" The architect's light rippled. "They are already coming. Our long-range sensors detect hundreds of ships. But they don't realize that what they'll find here isn't just a stronger enemy. It's a completely new form of life." Ruby's console lit up with new data. "Captain, the modified harvester circuits are showing something interesting. They're not just accepting our changes. They're improving on them. The adaptive ability that made them so dangerous before is now working for us, helping us evolve faster. And look at this," Daniel added, bringing up a new display. "The Eternals' energy patterns are naturally merging with the new systems. It's like all three technologies were meant to work together. We just never knew it before." The architect moved closer to the floating creation. "Perhaps this was always the true path of evolution, not to become pure energy like us, or pure adaptive machine like the harvesters, but to find a way to be all things at once, to transcend the boundaries between different forms of existence." Samuel watched as the modified technology continued to evolve, becoming something more beautiful and complex with each passing moment. "How long until we can implement these changes across the fleet?" "A few weeks," Anna replied. "The best part is, once we start, the integration process will improve itself. Each success will teach us how to do it better and faster." Lisa looked up from her station. "Long-range sensors are picking up the first wave of the new harvester fleet. They'll be here in 3 days." Samuel nodded, feeling strangely calm. "Good. That gives us time to show them something they've never seen before. A form of life that doesn't need to consume others to evolve, because it already contains the potential for infinite growth." The architect's form brightened. "You understand, then. This is more than just a weapon or a defense. This is the next step in the evolution of all life in the galaxy." "We understand," Samuel replied, looking at his crew. Each of them now showed signs of the change. Subtle patterns of energy moving beneath their skin, their eyes occasionally flickering with inner light. They were becoming something more than human, yet somehow more deeply human than ever. The harvesters thought evolution meant consuming and copying others, Ruby said softly. The Eternals thought it meant abandoning physical form entirely. But we've shown there's another way. Bringing different forms of life together, learning from each other, growing together. The ship hummed with power as the new integrated systems came fully online. Through the windows, they could see the Eternals' crystal structure glowing brighter than ever, its ancient energy harmonizing with the new technology they had created together. "Send word to Earth," Samuel ordered. Tell them that we found not just a way to survive, but a way to become something greater. The next wave of harvesters won't find victims to consume or enemies to fight. They'll find teachers, ready to show them a better path." As the message was sent, the modified harvester technology in the center of the room finally stabilized into its new form, a perfect blend of physical matter, living metal, and pure energy. It was beautiful, powerful, and alive in a way that nothing in the galaxy had ever been before. The architect's form pulsed with satisfaction. "And so the children of Earth become the teachers of the galaxy. You have taken the first step on an endless road. Every discovery will lead to new questions, every advancement to new possibilities." Samuel looked at his crew, seeing in their faces the same mix of wonder and determination that he felt. They had come seeking first contact, and found not just new allies, but a new destiny for all life in the galaxy. "We're ready," he said simply, and in those words was the promise of a future greater than any of them had imagined. Outside the ship, The stars seemed to shine brighter, as if they too were eager to see what would come next in this new chapter of existence. The meeting of eternal ones and mortal steel had led to something far greater than either, the birth of a new form of life that carried within it the seeds of infinite possibility.